Howdy, folks, it's Shitlord Stan, and I wish just for one day something completely insane wouldn't happen that forces me to make a video. Because I don't got a lot of time for this. Yet, the world just seems to think shooting itself in the foot perpetually is the right thing to do. So I've become aware that in a new comic entitled Steve Rogers Captain America, which brings back classic Cap to the Marvel readers, they have made Captain America the man who punched Hitler in the face a Nazi. In one of the scenes towards the end of the book, Captain America is looking down at a man he has bound and gagged and says, "Hail Hydra." Hydra, a former Nazi agency, because words are hard, which still acts like fucking Nazis. And Captain America is a member. To clarify, Marvel then went and said, this is not a clone, this is not brainwashing or any sort of mind control. Cap has always been a Hydra agent. Captain America. Steve Rogers. I have no words. Actually, I have tons of words, but they jumble in my head and come out as verbal diarrhea. This is ridiculous to several extremes. It's like they took one of their biggest characters right now, who has all this recognition, and then they just throw in this garbage plot twist, which is not even really a plot twist. It's just a gotcha for shock value. And the only reason it works is because we all know this is the exact opposite of Captain America. I I want to say it's just for shock value, but I have to kind of think here that with Marvel's recent trend of going SJW in all of their comics, the only way they could really do that with Captain America is to completely spoil him. Is that what's going on here? I have no proof, but it follows logically. Yeah, and here we were all thinking, oh, the whole make Cap gay movement is kind of dumb. Just make a new character who's gay and it's a lot better. But it's like, oh my gosh, that would have been so much better than making him a Nazi. I mean, at least Captain America can still stand for everything he currently stands for as a gay man. He cannot as a Nazi. It just does not work. Everything we know and love about Steve Rogers has been destroyed. I I don't know. What's worse is the implications that this means for the entire Marvel universe. So now every telepath like Professor X or anybody else who has any sort of mind powers in the Marvel universe has been fooled since Steve Rogers was unfrozen. Every one of them. Not one of them realized he was a Nazi. None of them. Not a one. So not only are all the mind readers in Marvel completely worthless, but Captain America is still a Nazi. And what about Spider-Man's spider sense? I mean, I'm not 100% sure how that works, but I don't know. Seems something maybe if you knew Captain America was up to no good. I mean, maybe it would pick that up, is what I was trying to say. But like I said, verbal diarrhea. That's what Marvel's making come out of my mouth. And this has double implications. At least, now, I haven't seen this in the comics, but at least in the movie, The Avengers, or was it Avengers 2? I think it, regardless, one of the two Avengers movies is a party scene. And I believe it was two, now I think about it. They're all having turns trying to pick up Thor's hammer. Of course, none of them make it move at all, except for Captain America. He makes it move a little. So does this mean that Mjolnir is fooled by Nazi Steve Rogers, or all of Asgardian, everything they consider good, honorable, and noble, is equivalent to Nazis? Or maybe just a little off, since he couldn't technically pick it up. Think of the implications for the Marvel Universe. Marvel isn't even thinking this through. So, in an interview, the guy who wrote this issue, and hopefully not further issues, but of course, probably, his name is Nick Spencer. He stated that this is a way of combating Donald Trump's candidacy. I I didn't read this firsthand, I read this secondhand, but it just seems to follow. So maybe this is garbage, but I'm willing to bet money it's not. It's from what I can tell, this Nick Spencer guy is pretty hardcore SJW, and he uses his comic medium as a way to push his own agenda. I mean, it's you can see it in how Marvel's been recently, but this is crossing the line on so many levels. Yes, yes, I'm nerding out. Ugh, whatever. Part of me thinks he's just out of ideas and he's just putting whatever throwing little darts at the wall and whatever it sticks on. Oh, Cap is a Nazi. Oh, Bucky is a trans queer gender Thor. I am so flustered by this. Probably more than I should be. Yes, this is fiction, but this is an icon of America. And not only that, but it's a complete reversal. So, this Nick Spencer guy turning Cap into a Nazi? Well, you see, here's something you may or may not know about Captain America. Captain America was created by Jack Kirby and Joe Simon. Both of these men were Jews. They created Captain America as a character who would specifically fight the Nazis, or Hydra, which were Reed Nazis. So, by doing this, Chris Spencer basically is saying, screw you to the writers and the original creators of Captain America, pissing on their legacy. I mean, how do I. Literally, you turn the character made as not to show any disrespect here because it's not meant a power fantasy by a couple of Jewish guys during the war to get revenge and show that there is a hero fighting for them, and you turn him into the very thing that they hated. Way to fucking go, Nick Spencer. You are garbage, absolute trash. In an article I was reading at work about or it was a I'm sorry, I'm totally fumbling. I read an article at work that was an interview with somebody at Marvel. I don't know if it was Nick Spencer or a different editor. But the very last question in the article was from the reviewer or from the interviewer, is this a gimmick? And of course there was, oh, this isn't a gimmick. This we've been working on. Da, da, da. Newsflash, this is a gimmick. Not only is it a gimmick, it is a poor gimmick. You are shitting on Captain America's legacy. You making him a Nazi? I don't get this. And what's worse is, I mean, I don't know if Disney is aware of this. They technically own Marvel. So did Disney approve this? Is Disney going to incorporate this into the movies? I highly doubt that. But this has the potential to ruin Captain America for Disney. This guy's been nothing but a hero since the get go. And now he's a Nazi? How is that going to affect all the movies? This, hopefully the mouse comes down on this shit because this is really dumb. I, you know, several years ago during the recession when it was at its peak and everyone was losing their jobs, I lost a really good job I had. At the time, I had some expendable income. I didn't have a lot of debt because I was only paying my student loans. So now I bought comic books again. I used to be big into comic books when I was a teenager, but I kind of gave it up, kind of grew out of it. But I got back into it around that time. When I lost that job, that because the job paid me really well and I had the disposable income for comics, the first thing I cut out was comic books. I was like, as much as I love reading comic books, this is the epitome of disposable income. And out of all the hobbies I had, it was the one that meant the least to me overall. Not to downplay comic books overall, but nowadays, whatever. Anyway, starting to ramble. Because of that, I had gave up comic books to save extra money because I needed it because I just lost a job. Obviously, you can't when you're trying to stretch every dollar. You don't buy a $5 comic book. Right after that, DC, which at the time was the primary publisher of comics that I read, rebooted everything in the New 52. I flipped through a couple of issues while perusing a comic book store and was like, wow, I don't really like what they've done. I'm kind of worked out that I can no longer buy these comic books. Since then, I can think of 3 or 4 times that somebody has done something to comics that I used to read, And all I can say is, you know what? I've dodged so many bullets since I've stopped buying comic books because they're just turning them into shit. They, I am so lucky that in some ways, I mean, obviously I didn't want to lose that job or, have hardship fall on me. But better to have these comics that I used to love to read ruined now that I'm not reading them than actually shelling out money for the shit and reading it firsthand. Anyway, folks, tell me what you think. Good idea? If so, please explain to me because I'm not getting it. Bad idea? I think most of you'd probably agree with that. Either way, leave a comment if you want. I would love to hear any reasoning why you think this is a good idea. I would love to hear other things that I may have missed in this argument about why this is a horrible idea. And tell me what you think, Marvel. What do you think the mouse, Disney, is going to do about this? Are they going to ignore it? Are they going to make it go away quicker than it showed up? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I have a dentist appointment to get to soon, and I still have a bigger video that I'm planning to do in the next couple days I got to start working on. So give this video a like, comment, subscribe. More importantly, follow me on Twitter. I mean, not necessarily more importantly, but you get what I'm saying. Follow me on Twitter, shitlord_stan. I'm on Tumblr, fighting the crazy kin, and probably people who like this. Just Shitlord Stan there. Thanks for watching. You have a great day, and fuck me, Captain America's a Nazi.